Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to break down a precise math-based four-part formula for hitting $100,000 in your business. I totally get it. The idea of making six figures can feel incredibly overwhelming, like this massive, impossible mountain to climb. But the material we're looking at today proves you absolutely don't need millions of customers to succeed. You really just need the right formula. So here is our 100K blueprint for today. First up, building a differentiated product. Second, systems for consistent visibility. Third, funnels and sales math. And finally, overcoming the mindset block. Let's get right into it. Part 1, building a differentiated product, the foundation. All right, welcome to Economics 101. Think about it like this. If you're in a market with high supply but low demand, well, no one really cares. If you've got high supply and high demand, it's a complete bloodbath. It's an exhausting price war where everyone's just undercutting each other to survive. So your goal is to find that incredible low supply, high demand sweet spot. That's what gives you the ultimate pricing power. It turns your offer into an absolute cash cow because customers simply don't have many other options. They literally have to come to you. And hey, the good news, you don't actually have to invent a completely new wheel to get that pricing power. There are so many ways to stand out. You can leverage familiarity, kind of like Emma Chamberlain's coffee brand does by relying on existing trust. Or you could sell specificity. Think of Black Girl Sunscreen going all in on a very narrow, specific problem. You can even sell novelty, like Liquid Death taking something as boring as canned water and pushing it with aggressive punk branding. Other great angles, proof of results, pure convenience, like HelloFresh pre-portioning groceries so you don't have to think about it, or even belonging, by building a super tight-knit community around whatever it is you're offering. Moving on to part 2, systems for consistent visibility, which really is the CEO's #1 job. But look, here's the trap. Trying to be everywhere is literally the fastest way to burn out. It's such a common mistake for beginners to try and juggle like 5 different social media accounts all at once. The sheer panic of trying to post on every single platform every single day, it just quickly leads to total exhaustion, inconsistency, and absolutely zero results. Instead, you've got to have a ruthless, disciplined system. First, find out exactly where your specific audience actually hangs out organically. Second, pick a maximum of 1 to 2 channels to start with. Just look at how Duolingo specifically dominated TikTok with a hyper-focused strategy. Third, commit to posting consistently for 3 solid months just to build the habit. And finally, track, learn, and tweak. You really must dedicate time to learning how a specific platform breathes before you even think about expanding anywhere else. Which brings us to part 3, funnels and sales math, converting attention.
Okay, so a sales funnel is essentially just like dating. You wouldn't just meet someone and immediately ask them to elope in Vegas, right? It's way too big of a leap. You have to slowly guide your customer from initial awareness over to interest, into evaluation, and then finally to the buy stage. It's all about naturally building trust over time before you can ever ask them to hand over their hard-earned money.
And that brings us to a massively relieving concept. If you really think about it, sales is not magic. It is purely math. Once you really internalize this, doesn't it just take all the pressure off? Rejection isn't a personal attack on your worth. If someone doesn't buy, it just means they dropped off at a specific stage in your funnel. It's nothing more than a metric telling you exactly where you need to tweak your process. Let's completely demystify this milestone by just working backward for a second. To make $100,000, you definitely don't need 1 billion people. In fact, you just need 1,000. That's it. You literally just need 1,000 customers to spend $100 with you in a single year. Now, let's take that math one step further. If we factor in a standard 2% conversion rate, which just means 2 out of 100 people actually buy, you only need 50,000 people to see your offer over the course of an entire year to get those 1,000 buyers. Divide that by 12, and you're looking at a highly manageable 4,166 people a month. When you break the whole shebang down into these daily and monthly metrics, doesn't it suddenly feel incredibly doable? All right, on to step 4. Overcoming the mindset block, the inner work. Now, here is a bit of a tough pill to swallow. If your product, your visibility, and your funnel are all perfectly dialed in, but you're still not hitting your goals, well, the harsh truth is that you are likely the biggest blocker in your own business. Brianna Wiest beautifully captures this idea. She points out that self-sabotage happens when we just don't believe we're capable of handling our own innermost needs, or even handling success itself. This perfectly explains why we constantly hide behind fake productivity. You know the drill, spending weeks reorganizing a Notion template or tweaking a logo for the 100th time, all purely to avoid those uncomfortable, needle-moving tasks, like actually pitching a client. So to logically defeat this anxiety, you can use something called the "is it worth it" exercise. You literally sit down and map out your specific fears. Weigh a fear, say getting bad feedback or failing publicly, against the actual likelihood of it happening. Then compare that to the massive potential reward. Is the medium risk of one bad review worth the incredibly high reward of building a location-independent business and living your dream life? Almost always. When you actually put it out there and look at it logically, the risk is completely worth the reward. Ultimately, you just have to accept this fundamental truth. Do it scared. That magical moment of complete, fearless certainty that you're waiting for, it simply does not exist. The most successful business owners out there do things scared every single day. You just have to take the leap and take action. Taking just 15 minutes a day to inch forward proves to your brain that it's safe to try and, yeah, it's safe to fail. So I want to leave you with this final thought to carry with you. What 15-minute tiny step are you going to take today, despite the fear, to build your 100K business? And more importantly, once you run your own math, are you ready to finally get out of your own way and claim the success that is literally waiting for you?